What is the latest spring intel out of Lincoln, Nebraska? Lincoln was an exciting place to be this time last year because you're talking about, wait, Dylan Raiola, what's he going to be? Is he going to win the job? Is he this? Is he that? He won the job. We all had our eyes work during spring practice and see the spring game and saw him do some things you haven't seen a Nebraska quarterback do in quite some time. Carries over to the season, saw some good, saw some bad. The expectation is for 2025 around Dylan Raiola, now with the bowl drought behind them, they believe the offense is a lot more set up for success for him in 2025. A big part of that is who you have calling the plays. Dana Holgorsen takes over the offensive coordinator duties midway through last year, towards the end of last year actually. And the tricky part with him being the OC, was he was calling an offense that wasn't exactly his. Like, you can't reinstall an entire offense when you're already 2/3 of the way through the season. So he's trying to essentially drive a car that he hadn't actually put together. The thought, though, for 2025 is more tempo, more pace. It's going to be his offense. They would like to get the ball out of Dylan Raiola's hands quickly and get the ball to playmakers that you got via the portal that you feel good about. Hardly Gilmore, a receiver from Kentucky, along with Dane Key. They feel really good about him. Cortez Mills is a true freshman that he will play at some point in some capacity this coming season. When you talk about Raiola, though, I think it's really interesting the steps he's taking to be the guy at Nebraska, which is something we've harped on a lot on this show. Very big difference having that QB1 label next to your name on the roster and the depth chart and actually being the dude at Nebraska. Because last year, he didn't walk in as the guy. He still had to win the job. He's this true freshman that a lot of people are wondering if he's got the stuff to do all the things that he is saying he wants to do during his commitment poem to Nebraska. He's at a spot now where it's his team. Nobody's questioning that. This is the first time since 2021 that Nebraska fans know without a shadow of a doubt who their starting quarterback is going to be game one. That's nice. That's a nice little luxury for the folks out there in Lincoln. So with that being the case now, speaking to him being the guy, sounds like he's a little bit more vocal. He is organizing some of those throwing sessions with his guys, which a year ago, it's hard to tell everybody, hey, we're throwing, you better be there. If you're not there, we got problems. I don't know if that's the verbiage he's using, but you can't say that when you're a true freshman early enrollee. You don't have the credentials to. Now with a year under his belt, a bowl win under his belt, sounds like he's taking those steps, and I think that's a very, very good sign for Nebraska fans. Defensively, there's not a ton to talk about here. Obviously, a new defensive coordinator, John Butler. The thought with them, though, is they're going to be in a position defensively to be a little bit more exotic. So last year, you have some situations where UCLA game's a great example. Multiple 3rd and 8s that UCLA, which UCLA wasn't really a world beater last year offensively, they were just converting consistently, especially in the first quarter of that game, first half of that game. They're having their way with Nebraska to a certain extent. And so I think the thing I would tell Nebraska fans during spring practice, the expectation is they're going to be a lot more equipped to disguise their defense, disguise their scheme, and also be a little bit more aggressive. Which, if you're a Nebraska fan, you're like, hey, bring it on. That's our bread and butter here. Deshaun McCullough will have a role. They'll move him around, transfer linebacker from Oklahoma. I mean, the skill set for him is obvious physically. I mean, 6'5", dude can run around, rush the passer. Really excited to see what that role for him looks like in the fall. And obviously you hear about it throughout the spring. But he's someone they're excited about and they think can help them here when it comes time to execute that new defense they're going to be rolling with here in 2025. So Raiola is the big thing I'm watching. Sounds like he's making some efforts here to transform his body and be more mobile and be more of a playmaker. But the hope is, again, for Nebraska offensively, you don't want Dylan Raiola doing his best Pat Mahomes impression. You want him back there, catch, see it, ball out to these wide receivers that they're really excited about here in Lincoln. I was told this is, I think, they're one of, if not their best position group on the team. So for Nebraska, something to monitor. And we will, of course, monitor it across the rest of spring practice. And we will make sure we have you dialed in right here on the On3 YouTube channel. Speaking of being dialed in, I know a lot of y'all are dialed in this time of year. So there's a certain college basketball tournament going on this month, actually. And it's known for being a little bit kooky, a little bit crazy. If you want to get to some of those games, as we roll into a later part of that specific college basketball tournament, Game Time has got you covered, baby. Lock in with Game Time. Use code HARDCOUNT. It's got everything you need to make sure you have the best viewing experience paired with, now, the best price point that you get that viewing experience at. Okay, so Game Time, safe, easy, effective, affordable way to purchase tickets. Little something to keep an eye on here if you're using Game Time. Game Time Picks, they have a little curation that makes it easier to find better value for tickets to sports, concerts, comedy, theater, college basketball tournaments. All that you need is within the Game Time app. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to use the Game Time app. We're going to download the Game Time app. We're going to use code HARDCOUNT. Okay, very important. Use code HARDCOUNT. And when you use code HARDCOUNT, save yourself a little bit of money, all right? Make sure you use that. Get $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and use code HARDCOUNT for $20 off your first purchase. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices, guaranteed. All right, great stuff by Game Time. Appreciate them bringing it. Appreciate y'all locking in with us and getting to those sporting events that may or may not be happening this month in the world of college basketball.